Hello students, we have come to the fifth chapter, that is today we will start with transpiration. So after we have completed the absorption by the roots, we have already seen that what is the transpiration pull. So now we will go through the detailed study for the transpiration. So now when we go through the transpiration, we will first see that it is a very useful process for the plant's health. The transpiration process that can be defined as the loss of water in the form of water vapor. This is very important to be noted that when we do transpiration, it is the loss of water in the form of water vapor from the leaves and aerial parts of the plant. Aerial parts means which is actually above the ground, like stems, like the branches, like the flowers, fruits, and obviously the leaves. Now the water which is absorbed by the roots, we have learnt in the previous chapter, most of the water, actually 2% of it is utilized in photosynthesis. So what will happen to the next, the excess of the water? So this excess of the water, actually it is lost in the atmosphere in the form of water vapor. So you can see the slide which is made, and here I have shown the picture of some leaves where you can see the water droplets on it, and you can see the second picture here where we can see lots of water droplets on the leaf lamina. Now if I explain the leaf, before I go to the next slide, if I explain, I have to show you a potted plant. So here I can show you a potted plant. So you can see this is the potted plant which I have taken. It's a small plant, and here we can see this above the soil. This particular part is the aerial part of the plant which we consider, and you can see the leaves over here. So this is the leaf lamina. From the leaf lamina, the water is actually coming out in the form of the water vapor, and it is getting evaporated in the atmosphere, right? So now we will move on to the next slide for the detailed study for transpiration. So now let's move to the next slide. This is actually how it is shown, how we can demonstrate this. We can do in the lab, this we can do in a very common area, like when we are there in our home. All of us, we have this kind of potted plant in our home garden, so we can always do this one. As you can see in the picture, the potted plant, only the plant itself is covered with a plastic paper or a cellophane paper. We have taken over here the medium sized potted watered plant, and then we covered the plant with the transparent paper, and then this particular thing has to be set up, has to be kept in the sunlight for few hours. Now what is our observation for after this? Some drops of water you will see which is appearing inside the plastic, and this is actually shows that the water which is coming in the plastic is from the leaves of the plant, because we have covered only the plant portion, as you can see in the picture, not the soil. If you cover up the soil, then the water from the soil will also evaporate, and this will give us the faulty result. Moving on to the next slide, again as you can see this, you can do it. You can see this is also demonstrating the method of transpiration. So kindly look through the slide so that you can do it at home and you can write your observation. But you need to keep it for a longer time. We will move on to the next slide. This is another experiment which we do in the lab, because we need to do this one with a bell jar. So it is known as a bell jar experiment. As you can see, the kind of a water potted plant which I have shown you like this. This potted plant is a very small one. So with this we can do it. we can keep this potted plant inside the bell jar. Now what is the change from the previous slide you have seen? In this, the bell jar experiment, the potted plant, the soil along with the pot is covered up with a polythene cover, and the bell jar is kept on a glass plate, and a Vaseline is actually provided so that there is no air need to enter from outside inside the bell jar. And yes, we keep it for a longer time, for a few hours in the sunlight. So what we will see here, after some hours, our observation will be that water droplets will be seen along the inner side of the bell jar, as you can see. Now this can be tested by a special kind of a paper which we call as a cobalt chloride paper. This cobalt chloride paper, when it is dry, it is blue. But as we place this one inside the bell jar, gradually we will see the color changing from blue to pink. So this proves that the cobalt chloride paper is absorbing the moisture, and as it absorbs the moisture, the color of the paper turns from blue to pink. So this can also be placed in the bell jar. Yes, if we don't have the cobalt chloride paper, we can just see the droplets of the water, and this experiment can be done in a very easy process. So this experiment also shows that how the green plants, they transpire, they sweat. Moving on to the next, we have to measure. That is very important. Whatever we do, we need to measure. The measurement of transpiration can be done by the weighing machine. As you can see in the picture, what we have done, we have taken a pot with a plant, and here we will place the pot with the plant on the weighing machine. And before that, we have to dip a twig in the water, and we can place that one in the test tube. But the test tube, that water has to be covered up with the oil, right? Why we actually apply the oil here? We have learnt in the absorption by the roots, because oil actually prevents the surface evaporation from the water. So that actually shows over here that how we measure. Now suppose you take the weight of the potted plant before the experiment, and you take the weight. You note the weight. Now you keep this particular potted plant outside the sunlight with the soil part covered up with the plastic. And after few hours, again you take the weight. Obviously what we will observe, the weight of the potted plant, obviously it can reduce. And this reduction of the weight is due to the transpiration of the water through the leaf lamina or the aerial part of the plant. So this is also a very easy method by which we can measure this process of transpiration in plants. Now followed by, this is very important, that there is a device. The device which actually measures, the correct measure it gives for transpiration is potometer, and here we will do a particular kind of potometer known as Ganon's potometer. So you can see the picture of the Ganon's potometer in the first slide, in the first picture of this slide. This is a device which measures the rate of the water intake. Means what? How faster the water is being taken, how much time it is taking. Rate means related to the time. So water intake by the plant, and this water intake is absolutely equal to the water which is lost through the transpiration. So if we take the water lost through transpiration, that will come equal to how much water the particular plant is taking in. So this is a device which is measuring that. Now the last figure which you can see in the slide, this is a potometer which we do the experiment, and as you can see, a twig, a small twig or a part of the plant is being placed inside this potometer. It is a glass tube. Okay, so the Ganon's potometer, we can see the picture here. This is a glass tubing, and this is a bent glass tubing, as you can see. One part of the glass tubing is having a wider end or the broader end where we can dip a particular part of the plant, or we can say twig. Simply we can say a twig. So a small twig is placed, as we can see. This total apparatus is filled with water, right? Now the water it is taking from the reservoir. Over here we have a beaker of water, right? So inside that beaker of water, the other end of the bent tube is immersed. The bent tube end has to be immersed in such a way so that the particular part is not exposed to the air. Now with this, in the middle portion of this potometer, you can see there is a scale. This scale, it measures that how much the movement has taken place in an air bubble. You can see the air bubble is marked here. This air bubble is actually introduced through the other end or the narrower end of this potometer. It is very difficult because while entering the air bubble, 2-3 air bubbles can enter and that will give a faulty result. We need one particular air bubble to get introduced. And how we do that? We lift up the narrow end of this potometer. The moment we lift up, as the air will get inside, we will immerse it immediately. This has to be done very carefully, which will make only one air bubble to introduce. And this air bubble will be remaining before the scale. Before the scale means just before we start with the experiment, the air bubble will be before the scale, somewhat near over here. This is a capillary tube, as you can see. Now there is a reservoir connected over here. I will explain you how it is taking place. So when this particular part of the potometer is a device, that is we are fixing it for few hours in the sunlight. Obviously what we will see, the water will get transpired from the lamina of the leaf, and when the water will get transpired, the water will be pulled up by the other part of the stem. As the water will be get pulled up, the water will move through this capillary tube because no place can actually be vacuum, and that will make the air bubble to start its way and it will move. Now suppose we are keeping this one for 5 hours. We can record for 5 hours how much distance the air bubble is moving, right? And if we take the distance in the scale and we take the time, so distance by time will give us the speed. That means how faster the transpiration is taking place. So this is a very good device actually, which helps us to know about the transpiration. But we will learn more about this device. Like what are the precautions for using this potometer? Number 1, potometer should be completely watertight. Number 2, the twig which we introduce, that need to be cut obliquely. Obliquely means not the straight way, conical way, and it is immersed under the water in order to expose the more surface area to the water. Now if I go back to the previous slide, kindly notice the slide again. Here, why we are giving a reservoir? Why the reservoir is over here? Like suppose I have done the experiment, and in my experiment I have already taken the reading of the movement of this air bubble, and I am done with that. Now after this, suppose any one of you can do the experiment. So then, how this air bubble you will take it to the previous part at the beginning? Then, there is a stopcock over here in the reservoir. We open that stopcock. And as we open the stopcock, the water which is there in the reservoir will flow, and gradually it will push the air bubble again back to its initial position. And then again another particular person can start with the experiment. So what is the function of the reservoir here? It is actually making the air bubble to move back to its initial position to start the experiment again. We will move on to the next slide which we are doing. Next is very important factor is what are the disadvantages of this. We can also say that one as limitations. What are the limitations of using this photometer? Introducing of the air bubble, as I said before the experiment, is very difficult. It's not very easy. And the twig which we take may not remain fully alive for a longer time. So obviously we have to do the experiment faster. Any changes in the outside environment may affect the position of the air bubble in the capillary tube. So we have to do this experiment faster. We do this one experiment in the lab and we try to measure the rate of water intake by the plant. Moving on to the next slide. We will move and we will try to explain the three different types of the transpiration. Number one, stomatal transpiration. Obviously the word it explains us that it will take from the stomata. Number two is the cuticular transpiration, that is the cuticle which is present as a waxy layer over the leaf. And number three is the lenticular transpiration. These lenticels are the minute pores which are present on the old woody stems. Separately we will try to define the stomatal transpiration. As you know, the stomata are the fine pores which are present on the undersurface of the leaves. The minute pores which are present at the upper layer of the leaves or the surface, the epidermal layer of the leaves and the lower surface. So I have mentioned over here ventral part of the leaf, right? Number of stomata, it can be 1000 to 10,000 per centimeter square in a leaf. So here we can see this particular cellular diagram. What happens? The water which is utilized in the photosynthesis process, it is already utilized. And the water which is not utilized, this will come in a vaporized manner because of the environmental heat, and it will come to the substomatal space here. This substomatal space, from here it will go from the stomata, you can see the arrow, and then the water will be moving out through the stomatal pore in the form of water vapor. So this happens mainly during the daytime. So we say photosynthesis is actually making even the transpiration to go through, or the transpiration process is followed up during the daytime the most, because we know the stomata remains open during the daytime. Now we come to the next slide. Here also I have tried to show the stomatal transpiration. This can be done in the lab. We take the leaf and we take the cobalt chloride paper and clip it in either side of the leaf to show that the stomata are mainly present in the ventral surface. We will see, compared to the both sides of the cobalt chloride paper, the down portion of the cobalt chloride paper will turn pink more faster than that of the above one. So we can see the clipped cobalt chloride paper with the leaf lamina, and this change of the color shows us that yes, transpiration is taking place through the lamina of the leaf. Next we move on to the regulation of the transpiration. I think so you can understand from the figure that in one the stomata is closed and here stomata is open. So here I am trying to explain you that when the stomata is open during the daytime, as I have already mentioned earlier, more transpiration will take place because more water vapor can come out, and when the stomata is closed during the night time, less transpiration is taking place. So here you can see the diagram which is followed by the opening and closing of the stomata. We will move on to the next slide where we will see the second method of transpiration, that is cuticular transpiration. Cuticle is actually the waxy layer which gets as a secreted as the layer, covering layer over the surface of the leaf. So from there the transpiration takes place very less, but yes, it takes place. It's a waxy substance secreted by the epidermis of the leaf to reduce transpiration, which is also very important in case of the desert plants. So desert plants, they have the thick cuticle to prevent more water loss. You can see the picture over here of the cuticular transpiration. Next we move on to the lenticular transpiration, and let's see what is it. Here you can see lots of pictures, that is the lenticels. It's there, the pores you can see present in the bark of the old woody stems. So these lenticels are the minute openings you can see. This is the cellular diagram where the lenticels are open over here. This lenticel doesn't have any guard cells like stomata. So lenticels remains open the whole day night. So the transpiration will also take the whole day night, but it is very less because most of the water is getting through the stem and it is going to the leaf. It is not staying in the stem, but yes, the transpiration is taking place. These lenticels are allowing to diffuse the gases as well as the water in the form of water vapor, and this lenticel is allowing more transpiration compared to the cuticle, but less transpiration compared to the stomata. So here we can see the minute pores of this lenticular transpiration. So we have already learnt about the three kinds of transpiration over here, followed by the stomatal, cuticle and lenticular transpiration. We are not ending up the chapter over here. The chapter will be followed with the importance and the effect of the surroundings on the transpiration. So obviously it is not an end of our chapter. It will be continued in our next class. Thank you, students.